Hey guys, welcome to the first broadcast of the K&M Showcast show here with Kyle here and my co-host here, Mike.
What's up, everybody?
Well, I'll give you a little baseball history on this date. Back in 1909, Philadelphia's Shibe Park, the first steel and concrete structure built for baseball, was dedicated. And here on the show, if you want to, you can go to the community market, buy the Shibe Park itself, and feel like you're playing back in 1909. So kind of cool, a fun fact here with us here today. But the first topic of conversation that we'd like to get to here today is our thoughts here on the show and on the release itself. Some things that we like about the game, some things that Mike and I are a little bit disappointed with. But we'll let Mike share his thoughts and opinions first here.
I appreciate that. Okay, so there's a lot to like about this game. When you really think about it. I mean, from the amount of content that we have to the legends that SDS introduced this year. Like, I mean, whoever thought we would see a show game with Babe Ruth in it? That, as bad as this may sound, that's really all I have to compliment about the game right now because I think gameplay needs some very important improvements to make this as fun as I would say 17 was, even with all of 17's flaws. Really, the biggest thing to me is the PCI is erratic in this game. You can put it up and in, swing on a fastball right there, and the feedback will show your PCI is down the middle. Um, you can put it down the middle, it'll show you swinging up and in. It needs a lot of work, and they've basically come out and said that they know there's something wrong with it, but they don't know how to fix it. Another thing that I think is a really big turnoff to a lot of people, myself included, is just the slow pitch speeds. Kind of feels like you're playing an online home run derby in Diamond Dynasty at this point, and I think it really takes away from the competitiveness of the game mode itself. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I want to be able to like earn my win and prove that I'm better than the person I'm playing, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. One of the things that I do like is I do like the menus. I like the fact that they have sped them up quite a bit. I think they did a good job of redesigning them. Very pleased and very happy with that. But I do agree with you, Mike, there in regards to the pitch speed. We were talking about earlier today in regards to whether they're going to leave it slow and as you progress in the ranked seasons that they'd speed it up. I think that baseball seems to be all about a timing issue, and I think we both agree
Exactly.
there that we don't think that's a good idea there. So hopefully they just bump it up altogether across the board and leave the timing where it's at. Do you have any other thoughts on that there, Mike? What any other things that you do like about the game? I know that kind of limited for you.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, like you said, the menu's going really fast is nice. I actually personally like the way they revamped the cap system to where now you can't just have like
Yeah, definitely.
99 overall switch hitting catchers who destroy everything that you throw. And then outside of Diamond Dynasty, I think that Road to the Show is actually really cool with the whole archetype thing. Like you can't just go in and be like a high draft pick and destroy. I mean, I guess you can if you still play on rookie, but it's a little bit more realistic, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot to love about this game. Don't get me wrong, but from a gameplay wise, it's hard right now for me to say that I truly do enjoy playing. But I do like it. So
Yeah, well, hopefully, they have taken care of some of the server issues there, where the game has is actually counting
very
everything. So,
very
hopefully,
very true.
hopefully they'll just keep improving it, and then it will, be the game that we all hope that we paid for.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and they don't have to do much. Like we were saying, just up the pitch speed to make it where it's like it wasn't 17, to where you actually have to have just a little bit of skill to hit a fastball. Because I mean, now the way it is, you can't throw fastballs online. If you do, you got to hope that they miss, which is kind of hard to do whenever, like I said, you're playing a home run derby.
Right, definitely. Well, topic of conversation number two here. We wanted to give some of those people that struggle with Conquest here, just a couple of pointers on our that we on our behalf here. Not everyone does Conquest the same. People do it a little bit different. Everyone has their own little strategy. Some people go for taking strongholds right away. Others wait. Mike and I do it fairly similar. He does a couple little things a little different than I do. But as you see here, I kind of got a little lackadaisical and didn't really care that the Twins took my stronghold here. That it's my second time going through Conquest. I completed everyone pretty easy there, all the missions, even the Brandon Crawford mission. But that JD, I can't hit with that card to save my life. So good thing I don't get paid on that. But typically, typically what I do when I start Conquest is I'll take um, uh, my fans and I'll just start circling my home base. I'll just circle my home base, and then I'll go to reinforce, and then I'll start taking all these squares up here before I even play one game. I know Mike here likes to go straight for Colorado, which that's a good strategy too. Typically, I don't even play Colorado till a little bit later. I start taking all these squares up here, building.
You see, I
Yep, go
have to
ahead.
play Colorado. I have to play Colorado first because I cannot pitch Charlie Blackmon, and I have to go ahead and get that headache out of my way. So,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I go all the way over here, take up these squares, build my territories, reinforce along the way, so that way I can continue to um, just take more squares, and then when I come to Seattle, typically I have enough where I can play them on rookie, or not on rookie, but on veteran. I pretty much played veteran on Seattle. The Angels, the Dodgers, San Diego, and all these. I think about first six territories here. I conquered their strongholds on veteran, and now I just overtook Arizona here a couple minutes ago on rookie. As you can see here, I have 46 fans in one of my territories here. Kind of in debate this time if I want to go back up to Colorado now or just go over to the Houston area. But it's pretty simple. Everyone has their own little strategy, but usually I circle my strongholds. Kind of builds me a little wall. I just got lackadaisical here with letting the Twins take it over. I probably should have put 3 or 4 fans in there once I built up my fans, but I didn't. But if you want to, some people they want to win it in by turn 27, 28. To me, I don't know what it really proves. I'd rather just beat it easy. I can just go skip fan base here. Steel fans, Mike likes to do 2 or 3 times steel fans at the beginning. I don't typically do that. Just my preference. We see here I can reinforce 21 fans, my 46. So all of a sudden here I'm up to 67 fans. I can just steamroll my way right to the next stronghold here. Now I can just basically start playing on rookie once I get close to either Colorado or Houston. I'll go ahead and reinforce again and build my fans back up. Should be able to play them on rookie. So that's just the easiest thing to do, just to beat them. If you do have any questions about that later, be happy to help anyone on Facebook in regards to that. We do have a couple other people that's posted pictures there as well. But really, it doesn't have to be difficult. Just take your time. You're not trying to set a world record in regards to how many turns you can do it on. But just be patient and pretty easy. Just playing on veteran and rookie there. Have anything you want to add there, Mike?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. You don't really, like you said, you don't have to do it fast. Like you don't prove anything. I mean, I personally try to do it quickly because a lot of people, myself included, again, think Conquest is just really tedious between all the simulating you have to do, and it can, like, I mean, it takes some time. And so that's why I play those steel fan games early because then you kind of work on getting like your fan base up. It's and the computer's not that hard to beat on All Star. Most teams, like I said, are easy to beat on veteran. If you can win on All Star, then obviously you can win veteran and stuff. But Win on All Star is kind of big because that's what online is set at anyways. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't hurt to go into Conquest, play on All Star, get a little bit of practice in that way. But I mean, I follow the same path Kyle does. I go towards Colorado, go towards Seattle, and just circle your way back towards the East Coast by going down the West, back across the Central towards Texas and Houston, and then I mean, pretty much what he said from there. You kind of just go one at a time back up to until you get through the East. So yeah, he gave some pretty solid advice there.
Yep, definitely. Appreciate that. Topic number 3 here is one of the little fun things about Diamond Dynasty is predicting when guys will get an upgrade or a downgrade. Obviously, if you think they're going to downgrade and you have a couple of their cards, you want to get rid of them as soon as possible before their value drops. But it's fun to invest in a silver that eventually goes gold or diamond. You can definitely make a lot of stubs on that. And every week, it's typically fun when they start to come out weekly on their days on Fridays, isn't it, Mike? When they upgrade that every Friday, is it 3 o'clock?
Every Friday, 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Yep. Yeah, 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's fun to see. Hey, did the guy that I invested in 10 cards, or some guys go crazy and even have hundreds of cards, and if they go from silver to gold, man, they just made a lot of stubs. So Mike and I would like to give you guys a couple guys that we have our eyes on that we've kind of started investing a little bit, but these are some of the guys that we think are going to either hit a gold, diamond. So keep your eyes on these guys here. Mike, why don't you go first and give us your number one suggestion here?
Number one for me would have to be Jerry's Familia, the closer from the New York Mets. This year so far, he has 6 saves and 6 opportunities. He's thrown 8 shutout innings and only given up 4 hits. So obviously he has a 0 ERA, but one thing that we've learned over the years past with pitchers is it's not all about ERA. He throws hard. In the game, his 4-seamer tops out at 97. He also currently has a .875 whip, which is really good, even though, again, he's just a closer. He also is averaging a 11.3 strikeouts per 9. So in game, he only has a 79. That could get bumped up a little bit. Also only averaging 3.4 base on balls per 9. His in game's 57, which is pretty low. It's about average, I would say, but you have to keep in mind too. This card was a gold last year for
definitely
for all of the year. I don't think he ever got downgraded. And SDS does their updates based off of 3 years. So you look back, like he didn't have the greatest ERA last year, but I mean he also well, his whip actually wasn't that great either, to be honest. But he had a 9.1 strikeout per 9, and the year before that it was 9.7. So his K per 9s and his whip in 2016 was a 1.2. So that's really where he's going to see his upgrades. Won't get much of a touch to velo because it's already maxed out. Stamina probably won't go up anywhere. But his hits per 9, base on balls per 9, Ks per 9 could all get bumped up, and that should give him just enough of a bump to go gold. Might not happen this update, but I would definitely keep my eye on that for the future.
Yeah, definitely on board with you there with Familia there. He's on my radar actually. Before the broadcast here, I went and bought a couple of them myself. Like Mike said, based off of the last 3 years, seems like when SDS gets their favorites, they typically bump them up a little quicker than others.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's my guys that know me know that I have a man crush on Justin Verlander, and he's my number one guy here.
That would be an understatement.
Yeah, it probably would be an understatement. When everyone else was jumping off his bandwagon last year, I still had my trailer attached to him the whole year and was super excited that he finally got his first World Series ring there and led Houston to the championship there last year. But Justin Verlander, as you can see, he's sitting at an 84. The guy has had two back-to-back years where he was just super clutch in the second half. And obviously, we saw what he did with Houston there as soon as he got traded. He was a huge reason why Houston was able to win the World Series, going deep into games and saving that bullpen. But he's sitting at an 84. All he needs is one bump to bump up to an 85. He's typically a slow starter his whole career. So if he can just start out halfway decent this year, he had a good first start. He should easily bump up to a diamond. And instead of seeing him sit at about 6K, you're all of a sudden talking about 20K plus that you would get from investing in him. So you're talking about probably at least a 15,000 difference there. It's not a matter of if he goes gold, if he goes diamond. I believe it's a matter of when he goes diamond. So he's right on the cusp there of going diamond. So he's my number one man crush of the day here.
To piggyback off of Verlander, he was also a diamond to end last year too.
Yes.
So that tells you SDS won't take much for them to go ahead and bump him. And with the way he started this year, wouldn't surprise me. Next Friday comes the update, and you see that little blue border around his picture now.
Yep.
But I'm going to go ahead and go into my next one since we're talking about starting pitchers here. And this one may come as a surprise because he's actually only a bronze. But I personally have invested pretty heavily in, and I apologize if I butchered this name, but Sean Manaea. I'm not quite sure how you say it. But kid's young. He is only 26 years old. Only been in the big leagues this is his, I think, third full season. He started this year off with a 1.74 ERA, only 1 and 2 record-wise because, I mean, it's the Athletics. They don't provide much offense for the guy. 4 earned runs, and 3 of those runs were off the home run, so he is kind of susceptible to the long ball. But I mean, it seems that most pitchers these days are because, I mean, power is the name of the game. He only had 16 strikeouts. He had 140 last year. Let's see, and right now he has a .77 WHIP. Again, like I said, it seems that WHIP is a really big thing SDS looks at when they're doing these upgrades because they like to go into like the advanced metrics. And WHIP's just a really good one to look at. He definitely needs to get his K per nines up some. It's only at a 7 right now, and it's not where I would want my starter to be at least not the ace of my staff. Again, like I said, he does give up a lot of home runs, his biggest downfall. But he could get some bumps, not anytime soon, so don't think, oh, you're going to cash in on him like next week. It's going to take a while for him to even think about creeping up to gold, but I wouldn't be surprised by the All-Star break he's at least a silver. Maybe by the end of the year, if he keeps it up the way he's pitching right now, he's looking really good. He could definitely find his way into that gold territory because, I mean, if you remember from last year, to start the year, there weren't that many golds, and then by the end of the year, it seemed like everybody and their mom was a gold. It seemed like it took much to get that bump. But I like the kid a lot. Have him on the fantasy team. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think he's a safe investment too. He's a bronze, selling for around 130 right now. So if he goes silver, you may double that. So really, you can't lose on this one. And I mean, it's always nice to have like one safe bet in your back pocket.
Yeah, definitely. Low risk, possibly high reward there. If you're talking 401k and things like that, you gotta have a few of those options available as well. Good number 2 option there. To piggyback off my number 1 man crush there, we're going to go with his newfound teammate. Here is my second investment here. Garrett Cole from the Houston Astros. Let me give you a little bit of background here. Typically, when you're investing in these players here, typically you want to invest in them at the latest on Tuesday. Typically, you all want to already have your investment in by Monday. As you can see here, I'm pretty certain we're not going to have an update this Friday in regards to players upgrading or downgrading in their ratings. But you can see here that just the other day, Garrett Cole was going for 700. stubs. There's some people that are already expecting him to maybe go gold this Friday, but I don't think there's going to be an update. But his value's already hopped up to 1275. If he goes gold, he'll probably even go higher than that, much higher. If you think about, I think it's in the jersey collection there. If you collect all the jerseys, you can get Garrett Cole's diamond card. So he's already kind of a favorite with a history of SDS. Back in 2015, Garrett Cole, that's the year that he went 19-8, 2.6 ERA. He struggled a little bit the last couple of years, but how much of that was just, being in Pittsburgh? The guy might have just needed a change in scenery. He's got the talent. He's got the velocity. You put him on the world champion Houston Astros, and it could just be a huge difference maker for him. But give it a day or two. Saturday, Sunday, I believe that those buy now, sell nows will probably drop underneath 1,000 again. Get yourself a few Garrett Coles. As you can see here, I don't have too many stubs here, but I have already started buying Garrett Cole here and there. Got 10 of them myself at the moment. Hopefully, we'll continue to get more of them here in the next couple of days when his price value drops there. Already starting off strong this year. He's got 2 starts, 1 win, 0.64 ERA. So he's already looking pretty good, and I think with that 0.714 whip, as Mike has said, that's pretty important to SDS. So a couple more starts, and I think you're going to be talking about Garrett Cole going gold. And if you get in on him, you can cash in. Got another one there for us, Mike?
I do. This one shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. I mean, he is very cheap right now, so now is a good time to get in on him. But Mitch Haniger, right fielder from the Mariners. So far this year, he has played in 10 games. He's already homered twice with 8 RBI. He's 9 for 33. Only batting 273, but he has an OPS of 903. In game, his power is really low, in my opinion. It's 65-63 versus righties and versus lefties, respectively. Last year, for example, Haniger hit 16 home runs in 96 games. So I feel like this guy can hit 25 home runs easily, possibly 30 if he plays a full season. And right now he's getting all the playing time because Nelson Cruz just went in with an ankle injury. So we're going to see a lot more of him. He's a nice swing. Better defensively than Nelson Cruz, too. Not much, but better. He could get a small bump to his arm, in my opinion. But I think his upgrade will come from power and contact. Needs to hit for a little bit better of an average. His average last year was only 282, which isn't terrible by any means. But for him to really get that bump, he's going to have to bump up his contact a little bit versus the lefties, hit a few more home runs. But with him getting everyday playing time now, it wouldn't surprise me at all. A few weeks, maybe a month tops, you see Haniger go gold, if even just for a little bit. He is a very underrated player, very good card to use in the game as well. And like Kyle was saying, the best time to invest is always Monday, Tuesday at the latest. And then if you're not 100% sure on your investments, check their prices on Thursday. You can always typically cash out for nearly double what you paid for them. And one tip of advice that I would give is, if you're investing in a player to go silver to gold, buy as low as you possibly can, because you can quick sell gold for 1,000 stubs and not have to worry about tax. My goal is to always stick under 600 stubs because that's 400 stub per card. You buy 10 cards, you made a 4K profit. It's not a bad day at the office, you ask me.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. If you remember, I believe Mitch Haniger last year, he had one of those player a month cards too, if I remember correctly.
He did. I'm pretty sure it was a gold.
So he's already kind of on SDS's list there of being noticed of a player who has potential. So I think that's a great find there. To kind of go with my theme of based off a Man Crush Verlander there, and then you go with his teammate Garrett Cole. My third and final suggestion here is a former teammate of Justin Verlander in Michael Fulmer. If you remember Michael Fulmer, he was a gold in the past there. He's only 25 years old. 2 years ago, when he was a rookie, he was 11-7 with the Tigers with a 3.06 ERA, 1.119 WHIP, and he already has that past history, as we've mentioned here, with being a gold. Last year was a little bit higher for him. Tigers pretty much stunk last year, so his record was only 10-12, 3.83 ERA. With a 1.154 WHIP. He's already starting off pretty solid this year. He did have the arm trouble here, but he has come back from that. That could have been some of the reason why his ERA was a little bit higher last year. But in 2 starts this year with the Tigers, he's 1-1 with a .68 ERA and a 1.125 WHIP. So he is a guy who's already on SDS's radar, and I think that Michael Fulmer here is a pretty cheap investment here. I mean, you can buy him now for put in a bid for 555 stubs. Just put in a few bids. I think I'm at 9 or 10 of them right now. When I get some more stubs here, I'm going to be purchasing more. I think it was last year, the year before, I loaded up on him. I had about 50 or so of them, and once he hit gold, I cashed in the stubs and was sitting pretty good there. So he goes gold. All of a sudden, you're talking about anywhere probably between 1,000 and 1,500 stubs he'll go for, and you can cash out at probably a good 700, 800 stubs there. And like I said, if you buy yourself 10 to 20 of them, that's as Mike said, that's a pretty good day at the office there. So Michael Fulmer is my number 3 suggestion here to invest in. And I hear that you have a bonus player for us there, Mike.
I do, but before I get to that, you really do have a fetish with those Tigers pitchers. Anybody who's a teammate of Verlander, it seems like, in your eyes, is definitely getting an upgrade.
Yes, definitely.
But I do agree about all 3 of your choices. They're very solid. My bonus is really more so for those guys who like to take big risks. This one shouldn't come as much of a surprise, and it's probably going to draw a lot of hate because it's a Yankee. But I think Didi Gregorius has a very solid chance this year of going diamond. Sounds really weird to say, but he's off to a really hot start. 3 home runs, 12 RBI. Of course, 8 of those were in one game. I'm pretty sure 2 of those home runs were in that same game. But he kind of broke out last year, hit 25 bombs, 87 RBI, batted .287. Currently batting .359 with a .795 slugging percentage and a 1.265 OPS. Obviously, I don't think he can keep that pace up because that would be absurd. He's very good defensively as well. And I don't think it would take much for him to get them up to diamond because he's another one of those guys that SDS followed pretty closely last year. I don't think he ever went diamond. I don't think he started gold either, though. I could be wrong. But I do know that he kind of broke out in front of everybody last year, really. And I think that if you want to take a risk and try to get a big payday, you can buy him, especially right now. He's got a buy now of 3,104 and a sell now of 2,375. So if you bought him now, he went diamond, you would instantly double what you paid for him. So that's also a really nice thing. Like I said, he has a really solid chance. He's just got to keep it up. I don't think he's going to keep up his OPS. His batting average will probably drop back down to around 300. I know Kyle's not really all that into him. Doesn't think he's the real deal. But I'm not a Yankees fan by any means. But I do think Didi is one person that has a really solid chance of going diamond. That's not very close because he's obviously still 4 off, only an 81 overall right now. But so yeah, if you want to take a high risk, high reward right there with Didi Gregorius.
Didi, I can see it. If he can just get his power bumped up there a little bit, maybe even a little bit on the contact there. He is a guy that does have a nice plate vision. Didi was the free player that I was given from SDS this year. So
you basically got a free diamond.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, according to Mike, I'll be sitting pretty good here in a little bit of time there. I do see a little suggestion there on the side there from Kyle Mize there. says that he's investing into DeYoung there from the Cards. I'm kind of a homer with my Tigers. It looks like he's kind of a homer with his Cardinals there. Let's take a look to see what
It,
he's going for right now.
it must be a Kyle thing.
Yeah, there you go. Uh, yeah, looks like others are thinking the same thing or same way as Kyle here. His value's over 1,000 already. Um, I'm not sure. I haven't been watching him real closely, but um, you know, he could be just high in value right now because people are thinking that they're going to do an update tomorrow on the rosters for upgrades and downgrades. Maybe if he drops down to 1,000 or less, he could be a pretty good investment there. So we'll take one there from Kyle there as a suggestion. So if you're a homer of a Cards, get your investments in there for Paul DeYoung there. So. Um,
That that's definitely a good one. He hit 25 home runs last year and only played a little over half the season.
wow.
Um, yeah, he's solid. He's also only 24 years old too, so plenty of room to grow. Obviously, going to go through some growing pains. Being his second year, people know how to pitch to him a little bit better. But he also has really good power as it is. I mean, 76, 82. He's also very cheesy in this game. He has a really nice swing, hard to get out. I faced him online a couple of times. Both times, he almost made me pay for it. Luckily, with the way the hitting is, he died in a warning track, but it was close both times. But yeah,
That's
it's definitely a good suggestion. I'm sure his price will drop given that it is a Thursday and people may assume that, as Kyle was saying, there's a roster update tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure it's not until next Friday is the first one. So yeah, it's definitely a solid investment right there.
Yeah, typically Thursday is about the worst day that you can invest, and that's why going forward here, Mike and I will be doing our show here on Tuesday nights coming up here, and we'll have our show at Tuesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So those of you that are on the Pacific Coast, hopefully maybe you can get home in time from work there to catch us. But I think that's about all I have here tonight. You have anything else there, Mike?
Um, Not that I can really think of right now. I mean, we really want to see what you guys want to hear, what you want us to talk about. It's kind of what we're here for. Obviously, we want to help with investments. Maybe if you guys need some tips with how to do certain missions, because I know there's so many programs and so many missions this year. It's kind of overwhelming, even for people like myself who played DD pretty heavily last year. I first logged on and was like, oh my Lord, where do I start? So it's definitely a lot to get into. But no, that's not it.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, pass your suggestions along to us here in the future. Here, we'll take some guests, some folks that are good at getting into the World Series division on versus. We'll pick their brain at what makes them so good, and also we'll get some of those road to the show players and franchise players on here in the future as well. So, but appreciate y'all tuning in to our first show here ever, and I look forward to being back with you in the future on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Yep. See you guys.
Yep, have a good night.